Well, welcome. Welcome all the fans of the Me and Jesse podcast. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, everybody.
Not only do we have a tremendous show for you tonight.
Tremendous.
Trigmendous. Did you like that?
Triggology.
Trigonometry. That was tough in school.
Yes, very hard.
But not only that, but we have something that we're giving away. Thanks to our friends at Windermere in Hampton Market, Boston Pizza.
Yes.
And our dear friend Terry. He's given away. Yes. What is that behind you, Mark?
This is going to be a weekly thing now.
Oh.
I think Terry's lost his mind. He said, Mark, I want to do a great contest for the Me and Jesse podcast. Every week, I'm going to do it. I love your podcast. You know, Terry's just not a sponsor. He's a fan of the podcast.
Yeah,
he loves him. Very important. And he says, listen, for the first contest I want you guys to do, I want to give you guys this Mahomes.
You mean the Patrick Mahomes?
The Patrick Mahomes, the second best quarterback in the NFL. Okay. Jersey, and this is not one of those like cheapo jerseys. No. This is like the real, like the game kind, like they wear on the field jersey.
Yeah.
It's on field jersey. So for our contest, the first prize is going to be the Mahomes jersey and a $50 gift certificate. And
wow,
a $50 gift
certificate. So
certificate.
Mahomes jersey, $50 gift card for Windermere, Hampton Market.
Yes, and second prize will be a $50.
Another one.
Another one.
Terry's lost his mind.
Said,
but hey, all the more power to you.
Yeah, it's great for the Me and
Jesse
podcast.
You get to reap all the rewards out there.
Yes.
How do you win this? Well, let me tell you. You head over to our Instagram at Me and Jesse Podcast. You like or follow our Instagram page, and you tag a friend in the comments saying, "Hey, check out this podcast. It's all about sports." And then, if you feel so inclined, hit the little airplane button or arrow button. Share that to your story. That's it. And you'll be entered in to win a Patrick Mahomes jersey and a $50 gift card. And second place. There's even a second place.
There's a second place.
Which is usually the first loser. But even losers win on the Me and Jesse
Not today.
podcast.
You win. It's all about winning on this podcast.
Okay, well, do that today. Me and Jesse Pod. When we come back after the short break, we will be joined by the one and only Mr. Frank Trigg.
Get excited.
We'll be right back. This is the Me and Jesse podcast.
Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavelich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Me and Jesse podcast. My name is Mark Pavelich, and our special guest below, the one and only, Mr. Frank Trigg, and the big sexy on the other side, Mr. Jesse Martineau.
Hey. Welcome to the show, Frank. How you doing tonight?
Good, yeah. Well, this afternoon. Where the hell are you guys?
We're in Edmonton, your favorite city in the world.
The second favorite city in the world.
Oh, what's your favorite?
Number one?
Any place other than Edmonton.
Okay.
Just
a sucker punch. Right off the get-go. Listen, you know how much I love
Edmonton. Don't send me Canadian hate mail because that's really weird.
Frank, you know I love you, but you know what's going to happen now to me? They're going to be like, "Why did you put Trigg on the show?" He's shitting all over Edmonton.
I love Edmonton. I'm up there. I love Edmonton. I don't have a favorite city anymore because I travel so much. I don't really have a favorite city because each city's a little bit different. You know?
you probably wouldn't have a favorite city, right? I mean, with the amount of travel you actually really do.
No, man, it's impossible. Like when we talked, I was in the Middle East, you know, and it's like, and those cities have different flavors, different cultures, different vibes, you know. Then all of a sudden you're in Japan, it's a different vibe, and different parts of Japan have different vibes. So it's like you can't go, oh, what's your favorite city? It's like, well,
yeah,
you know, I got engaged in Paris, I got married in Rome. I got, you know, what's your favorite? You know, none of that is true. None of that happened. But I got engaged in Honolulu and got married in Vegas, and Honolulu and Vegas and someplace else. It's a thing. It's a story for another day.
But Frank, your travel schedule, your sleep must be whack, eh? Like, I mean, honestly, like your sleep patterns must be just bizarre.
So everyone talks about getting on the circadian rhythm, your circadian rhythm, whatever. Like that's bullshit. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because somehow these international athletes that travel all over the place are able to function and win fights.
How do they do that?
3 in the morning, their local time, but it's 9 p.m. the time that they're at. You're like, okay, so his whole rhythm must have been. You're like, no, dude, like this is what you just have to figure out. And this comes from wrestling. This is when I used to travel with the U.S. team. When it's time to eat, it's time to eat. When it's time to work out, it's time to work out. When it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep. And you sleep anytime you're not eating or working out. That's the rule. So, like, you know, for a lot of the U.S. military personnel, they understand this. I don't know. Does Canada even have military? Do you guys have military up there?
Yes, we do.
We're gonna.
Yeah,
okay.
we are quickly. Our
teasing,
ratings are dropping.
Don't give me hate now.
Listen, when you
guys get it, when it's time to eat, they eat. When it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep. It doesn't matter where you are. Your time is your time. You have to work and do things when you have to work and do things. So if I got to get up and ref a fight, I got to get up and ref a fight. It doesn't matter. It's 2 a.m. my local time, and I've only been there for 1 day, so I haven't adjusted. It's time to work. It's just this. So I just function. But I see a lot of cities that most people don't see. Like you travel, you'll see a city like during the day because that's kind of you get up, you do lunch, you do dinner, and then you kind of go to bed. Well, I'm at an event until midnight.
Yeah.
So I see the city from midnight to 4 a.m. And I see it when it's at its darkest, its quietest. The birds are sleeping, the bums aren't doing anything. No, the criminals have already gone to bed. Like it is quiet when I see a lot of these cities. You're like, oh, you really like this? Yeah, I really love that city. Why? Man, it's so loud there. There's so much action going on. There's so much. Man, even New York City gets quiet at 4 a.m. Yeah, it's only quiet from 4 a.m. to 4:15, but it's still quiet.
If you're just joining us, everybody, we have Frank Trigg, Hall of Fame MMA fighter with us tonight. Frank, I have 5 sons of my own, and I know that you came from a family where you have 6 brothers.
Well, there's actually 7, but one's a stepbrother that we're raised with.
Okay,
so there's 8 of us total. Yeah.
So I know that we keep Band-Aid in business in my house. How was it growing up with 7 brothers?
And we used to play Frisbee with saw blades. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's try to see what happens. And of course you don't catch it. You get out of the way.
Yeah.
And then it hits you behind you. You take it out of the tree and you throw it back at him. It's just, you know. And I remember one time picking on my brother and thinking that I'd be safe if I hid my head under the covers, and he picked up, it was just a toy hammer, but he picked up a hammer and hit me in the head with it under the cover. I was like, whoa, oh, this got real. But, you know, it's like stuff like that. Like you learn quick, like how to get stuff done. And then we had rules in the house. Like you had to eat everything on the plate before you got a second offering. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But there's always something on the plate that you didn't like. Always something on the plate you didn't like. And whatever it was, Mom had to figure it out. Each of us had something on the plate we didn't like.
Somehow she had this algorithm worked out where everybody had something on there.
It was nuclear science. I have no idea how she did it, but we actually were talking. My mom and I were talking about that the other day, where she always knew what we didn't like or didn't like it, and it changed. You know, your taste buds change throughout your life, so it got different. You know, it got different for everybody, and like all of a sudden it became a different thing. But she always knew what it was, and we'd be shoving that last little spoonful of lima beans, reaching for that last piece of meat, and get beat because the guy before you already finished it. Like, and so that was kind of the game. It was like, you know, there's always enough for all of us to eat. You know, I don't want to act like, we had to fight for food, but it was always the game of dinner as well. And we had to be dressed for dinner. I don't know about you guys. I'd have a button-up shirt on for dinner. So I'd come home from school, go upstairs, have to change shirts to go have a dinner shirt on to go eat dinner. Like we had proper dinner.
I make them take their hats off, and I make them actually wear a shirt. So, but I don't make them dress up like that.
What about pants? Are pants optional?
Well, pants. See, you know, in Edmonton it gets pretty cold. There's a couple kids that refuse to wear regular pants, so they can't complain that they're cold ever. They go out in shorts though, and the teacher will be like, you know, you sent your kid in shorts. I'm like, yeah. If he tells you he's cold, that's when I get to put pants on him. But they're stubborn little guys.
Yeah, good on them. Good on them. Hey, you gotta find that line as a kid, like where I can buck against my parents. I gotta find that line. Where I'm gonna push my parents off a cliff with the year pants. Imagine if it was meth. Imagine
that's what like, I'm fine with pants when it comes to something else. Yeah. So Trigg,
okay.
How much did that growing up? How much did that time with your siblings train you or prepare you for where you are today?
You know, we don't have a no kind of attitude in the house. Like none of my brothers have a no attitude. We always kind of like, you know, and you know, you hear no a lot every day. I mean, Mark, you remember hearing no all the time. Like it's common. Like, no, we can't do that. No, we can't get that to happen. No, that's too much. No, that's too expensive. Like, there's always a no. And we didn't have that kind of growing up. It was always like, I hate to say it because it sounds cliche, but the can-do attitude. Like, we always like, you tell me I can't do it, I'm just going to go do it. So our parents would tell us a lot of stuff. Like, I bet you can't go cut a half a quart of firewood before it goes dark. Like, yes, I can. And
that's how it was. Yeah.
And you got the chores done. Yeah. I bet you can't clean your entire room in 45 minutes. I'm talking about vacuuming, washing the windows, remaking your beds, like stripping down the beds and remaking. Bet you can't do it in 45 minutes. Boom, half hour, done. Like that's kind of like how everything was done in our house.
Interesting.
Like, we got challenged all the time to do stuff that was, and as you got older, when you're younger, you had a big window. But as you get into your teens, all of a sudden, like, I bet you can't do it in 15 minutes. And you'd literally be like, see, 15 minutes and 49 seconds. Like all of a sudden, it was like the gap got closer. I bet you can't get an A in math. I bet you can't, because I struggled in math my entire I just do not have that math gene. I struggled. And so like with math, my dad would always challenge me. I bet you can't get a B on this test you have coming up. And I'll bet you I can. And so that was kind of our attitude. And then they would always tell me, like, you're never going to make the varsity team. You're never going to make varsity wrestling. It's not going to happen for you. Watch. I made it as a seventh grader in high school. You're not supposed to make it till sophomore in high school. I was like, no, I'm going to make it right now. You watch. I'm going to make it right now. And I made it. And that's just kind of how we always push. But then my brother was told he could never be a lawyer. He's an attorney. He works for the U.S. government. He's a diplomat. My other brother was told he could never be a high-ranking officer in the Air Force, in the U.S. Air Force, because he has a scoliosis. But he's good enough to get in, but he couldn't get higher up because of his physical disability. He retired as a chief master sergeant and now works for the Saudi Arabian Air Force as the liaison between the U.S. Air Force and the Saudi Arabian Air Force.
Wow.
She's like, okay, you told me no. Watch what I'm going to do. And this is kind of how we were raised with that whole mentality. Now, all of us are like, I'm the black sheep in the family. I'm the one guy that didn't go into federal service, that didn't serve in our military, and doesn't do federal work after the military. I'm the only one. Everybody else has been in, stayed in, and they're still doing. They may not be actually in service right now, but they're working for a company that does DOD, works for the Department of Defense as a private company. These guys are all still in. I'm the one guy that's not. So everyone's like, oh, you're the fighter, so you must be the black sheep. You're the guy that commentates. You guys do all these strange things, but no. Like, my brothers all carry weapons for a living. Like, they have guns on them at all times because of their job.
Wow.
This is what they do. I'm the idiot that didn't go that direction. They have retirements. They have 401ks.
Yeah, that's right.
They got houses. They've got be able to buy cars. Like, I'm the guy that didn't do any of that. So I'm like, hopefully I get one more reffing job to pay the rent this month. You know, so it's like, you know, so it's give and go. But that's kind of how our life was as we were raised up, and we all got challenged and we all rose to the occasion.
It's actually a very philosophical idea there, because nowadays and Mark and I have talked about this endlessly about the 8th place trophies, and you know, you don't challenge kids. You don't try to push them. You know, let them do what they do, and you should be rewarding failure and that kind of stuff.
This is gonna get me hate mail. This next series is gonna get me hate mail for sure. There's two things we don't do for our kids. Teach them, well, this is a longer one. Teach them that losing sucks, and that number 2 is just the first loser. Teaching them that you have to strive to be. You might never ever be the guy. If you look at my fighting career, I was never ever the guy. I never won the big title. I never won the big.
Close.
I had titles and I was there.
Yep.
I had titles organizations. I was standing right on it, but I didn't get it. So I was never the guy. But it never made me stop. It never made me want to quit doing what I was doing, because I was taught, yeah, you might be the first loser, but you're still better than number 3. You're still worse than number 1, which means you got to improve, and you still got somebody chasing you. So you better keep working. That's all it ever taught me. The other thing we don't do, and I don't want to say, you know, beating your kids, because I know a lot of abusive families. I know a lot of abusive kids. My friends have come out of really abusive upbringings, have survived through it. They didn't become serial killers, they become drug addicts. They became nice, because they chose to be nice, level-headed individuals. But we have to discipline our children.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a big issue with the timeout generation.
Yeah.
Jimmy, don't do that anymore. You're going to put you in timeout. Yeah. Go to your room. Well, my room's got a computer. It's got a PlayStation. I can lock the door. I can do whatever I want. I got my own bathroom. Who gives a shit what I do? I can sneak out the window and be back in 3 hours, and they won't even know I'm gone. Like, it doesn't matter. Yep. I don't have that. When I got in trouble, the door came off the room. I didn't have a door in my room because I got in trouble all the time. The door was off the room. I couldn't close my door. I had zero privacy growing up. Zero. And when they would give me a long rope. They give me a really long rope. Hey, go ahead. Do not go outside this boundary.
Right.
When I would cross outside that boundary, that rope got jerked, and I get choked. We don't know what the hell. And I got disciplined. And sometimes it was physical, sometimes emotional, sometimes it was spiritual, depending on what the punishment was. But it always fit the crime.
Right.
Now growing up, I'm like, yeah. Now I'm an adult. I'm like, hell yeah, that sucked. But guess what? I'm not doing anything stupid. When a cop walks up and asks me for an ID, here's your ID, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yep. I'm not being threatening. I'm not being a problem. I'm standing right here. I'm complying. I'm doing what you say. Right. I have no problems with police come up to me and talk to me. I don't have an issue. Literally, the guy that looks almost like me, standing right next to me, is bad-mouthing the cop. I'm like, hey, he's my friend, but I'm not with him right now. I'm a separate individual. Treat us separately. Do not treat us the same person. Yeah. I am not doing anything. And the cop's like, hey, you stay right there. Okay, and they go to handle him. And he gets arrested and put in the back of the cop car. They're like, well, why didn't you save me, man? How come you didn't save me? You can't save yourself. How am I going to save you?
Right.
That's right. Dude, he was raised in the timeout generation. Yeah. They feel like they're entitled to talk back to authority. Could you imagine talking to your parents the way these kids talk to their parents? Are you kidding me? I have a hole in my chest. Oh, God bless. I was at the grocery store listening to some teenage girl telling her mom what she was going to get and how she was going to buy this food for her and what she was going to do. And I was like, my mom would listen to that too. And she'd be like, yep. And we put it in a basket. And we go to and she'd check out. I'm like, where's the graham crackers? Where's the cereal I wanted? Where's the we don't have that. Or even better, you got money? Go back and get it by yourself.
Yeah.
You're supposed to provide. Nah, man. Like this is a real problem right now, and we've seen it. And obviously, you guys are watching American politics. Yeah, you look at how politics are going right now. Like this is part of the problem. Yeah. There's no consequences. I'm telling you right now. There will be five people out of that Capitol insurrection that will get thrown the book at them, and they end up with 35 years or longer in prison. I'm telling you, people, because they're going to make a point. You don't do this. This is mommy now slapping you in public. You screwed up in public, you get away with it because she can't hit you in public, and they're about to hit you in public.
Did you remember that too? In our generation, Frank, it was public. Like when your parents did it, they weren't worried about other parents, stopping it or anything like that, or calling 911. It was like you stopped, you looked at it, and you went, okay, and you understood it. Because something you said that's very important today, you said it was warranted. It was warranted when you got a long rope, but it was warranted what you got. That's why you're not sitting around a campfire today going, oh, I was beaten. This happened to me. This happened to me. Because all my friends talk the same way. They're like, you know what? I was a bad kid. I needed that because if I didn't, I'd be the same one right now telling police to go after themselves. I'd be the same guy doing all that. And it's funny because I've never had that problem. At 53 years old, if I get pulled over or whatever the case may be, I have never, ever had a problem with a police officer in my life. So I know people want to hate on me saying that or whatever the case may be, but it's interesting because these teeth here are all fake. They're all implants, and they're not from boxing sparring, if you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So this is when no mouthpiece was in when you're a kid, and you think that you're going to be a smartass, and someone puts you on notice and says, okay, that's a wrap. And you say, it's not a wrap, and then bang. That's how it was. And you know in life, even at this age, you go, it's not necessary for me to bring that attention to myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm good. We're fine. There's no reason. He's doing his job. He's got a tough enough job as it is.
Correct.
I'm just trying to get to where I was going. I was going too fast. I was acting like an idiot. I yelled at somebody. I broke a window. I did something stupid.
Correct.
Own it. Pay for it. Fix it. Move on. It's not that big of a deal. Like it's not that big. It's really not that a big issue that everybody wants to make it. Like I'm being, but if you act like an ass, then you get treated like an ass. That's how it is. Yep. Mark, I think I've told you this story before when we were hanging out in Edmonton. Jess, I know you haven't heard this yet, but one time when I was junior high school thereabouts, I thought I was big man on the block. I got on the wrestling team. I was a little guy though, I was like a 91 pounder. I was like super small. So I got on the team. I was like, felt like I was the guy and whatever. And some kid was picking on me at school. I decided to handle it. We got off the bus and I went in front of his house, walked down the street, got in front of his house, and got in a fist fight in his front lawn. It was pretty back and forth. There was no like, oh, I knocked him out and kicked him in the face. There's none of that. We're kids. Like, so there's really not a big winner, you know, and it's one-on-one. It wasn't like a group of us on a group of us. It was one-on-one.
That's right.
His mom comes out, starts beating the crap out of him for fighting, told him never to fight in front of the house, never to fight in front of the house. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you get that. She turns around and she beats me up.
Yep.
Right in front of her house.
Yep.
Whoa, like this lady, I'm gonna go home and tell my mom. You watch what happens. I'm gonna tell my mom, I'm gonna come out and get you. By the time I get home, she already called my mom. My mom put a beating on me like you would never believe. I was like, and then I got the wait till dad gets home.
Yeah. Oh, that was the bad one.
Hold on a second. I got beat 3 times a day. Like, I was impossible. You know, it's like, but that was, and I learned to never, ever, until I got into college, never had another street fight. Not one time ever.
Wow.
See?
Never again. But never fought again in the street. In college, it got a little out of hand there for a little bit. We're a little stupid. Because you're with a bunch of other aggro, you know, testosterone-driven males, all trying to be national champs, all trying to get degrees, always trying to peacock and prove we're the best men in the world so that the women will come to us. Like, and I'm at University of Oklahoma, which got a huge football program, a huge baseball program. Yeah. The men and women's gymnastics team were all national champs. The wrestlers were kind of low in the totem pole because we hadn't won a national title in a while, and we're trying to beef up. And you know, we got in some trouble, but really, it was only 2 or 3 times. And one time, I was in a street fight. I wasn't in the fight. I was just walking down the street. A street fight happened around me. I was just there and kind of got scooped up with everybody because I was there, but I wasn't even in it. I had nothing to do with it. So it was like, hey, I promise you, I wasn't there. And there's no cameras. It wasn't like, go check selfies.
No.
How much though today though do you think though? Because you know, back in the day, it was just a fight.
Yeah.
Where now it is like, I'm gonna fight you, and then I'm gonna get all my boys, and we're gonna come, and then we're gonna take it further, and we're gonna break your car, and then we're gonna come to your house, and or I'm gonna call the police after you knock me out. And,
in my 4 years, when I was, you know, junior high school, up until my junior year, I basically was out in the country. You would show up, and during deer season, everybody had a deer rifle in their back of the car hung.
That's right.
Unloaded. The ammo was in the front seat. The ammo was in the box in the front seat, but they're going deer hunting as soon as school was out. And they would show up, and it was commonplace to have weapons on campus. Common. No one cared. Right. It wasn't that big of a deal. We were having all these problems with the shootings like we're having now, and the assault rifle as available back then. You know, it was like, so it was really a really big deal. The only guys that had assault rifles were guys that had used them in the military, and now we're out of the military and bought that weapon to take home with them.
That's right.
That was the only time we had an assault rifle. No one else really had an assault rifle. It was always bolt action rifles or simple deer hunting, 30-06s, shotguns. That was the basics. We'd go in, not one problem. Anybody got in a fight? Everybody had a gun. Everybody got in a fight. No one went to the car to get a knife. No one went to go get a bat. No one got a crowbar. You put your things up and you swing and you see who wins. And at that moment, Mark beat me last night. He's the king of the week because he beat me last night. Might change next Friday, but this week he beat me. That's just, I got to eat it. I got to own it. And that's how it was. Now it's like, you got to worry, man. We're talking about, like, I see teenage kids all the time trying to press, like trying to bowl up at the bars when we could go to bars. I mean, obviously now we're locked out, but they try to push up at the bar. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm just, man, you can get them away, old man. Son. Son, because I know you're going to go to your car. Yeah. I have to make it way higher level now than I would normally. Right. Normally, I just embarrass you, put you down on the ground, and smack you up a little bit. But now I got to knock you unconscious. I can't let you go to your car because you're going to come back and weigh the whole joint down. Like that's an honest fear. You know, so you really have to think about these things, or have to decelerate so much, which is what I've been doing a lot now. Is like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, you bumped into me, but let me buy you a beer. What's $6? I don't really give a shit. $6. The decelerating altercation. Let me buy you a beer. Go about your business. You want to keep being an idiot? Then I'm always friends with the bouncer. Wave the bouncer over. Let you handle it. I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Correct.
I'm not putting your prints on this at all because it gets bad. And this is a real fear now for a lot of people. It's a real.
You can't have that in your life, Frank, especially the road you're on now, right? Between being an official, between being a stuntman, between all those things, that is catastrophic for you.
Like, I'm on a Disney show right now that I'm locked up until May, and we have a morality clause, which is, I used to think the UFC morality clause was a little weird. Right?
Yeah, nothing compared to Disney, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're like, look, here's the deal. We don't care where you lie, left wing, right wing, middle. We don't care where you lie in that place. We don't care you doing these things. We will not accept under any circumstances, even in a joke, understand, even in a joke, racism, sexism, not allowed. And if you are homophobic of any sort, we even perceive this as being homophobic that you put out there, you are immediately released from your contract and you are no longer welcome at any of the Disney Network channels.
Wow.
ESPN, ABC, gone.
Wow.
They cut you out. So they will blackball the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, all right. So let me really think. So now you look like, wow, this is funny. It's racist, but it's funny. This is a funny joke. Yep, can't post it.
Yeah.
Can't post it. Wow, This is funny. My gay friend just sent me this. This is funny. I want to repost this. Nope, you can't. It's homophobic. Can't do it.
Can't even like it.
So it's like it's changed how I promote stuff. If you notice now, like on my Instagram, I do a lot of stories, but I only post certain things, and it's only me that I'm posting on my actual feed.
Just
because the stories are like the jokes, they go away. They're funny little things. Right now, it's the Bernie Sanders with the gloves on, the little mask,
sitting there by himself. Yeah,
that thing is amazing. I can't get enough of that. But I really have to watch what I post and really what I do. And it's sometimes a little hectic. The first like 3 weeks, I was like really nervous, and then I started going, you know what? I don't post that stuff anyway, so why would I post it now?
Correct.
Because this one time I get one joke that's funny, I'm not going to go out of my realm to repost this thing. I'm gonna laugh at it privately and just move on.
Yeah.
You know,
don't you remember the time, Frank, though, when your dad or mom told you, why does your opinion mean so much to you? Because that's what situation you're in right now with Disney. And bravo, Disney, between me and you, okay? Bravo, Disney, that they put down some guidelines that they want people to follow. And I remember my dad telling me on multiple occasions, why does your opinion need to be so necessary all the time? And I would look at him and I'd be like, you know what? He's right. It's like, why does you notice in society now, everybody needs to wave a flag to say, like, we're all jersey. Like we all really give a shit what you think. Like your political opinion is going to change my life. Listen, even in Canada, United States, you think I really care who the president or prime minister of Canada is? Just in other conversations with people. But let me tell you, Frank, those guys don't pay any of my stuff at my house. Those guys don't affect me in any way. It's because we're letting them affect us. Yes. That's the problem. Yes. Listen, my country's always been Canada, but you know what? I live in like this little sector of Edmonton where it's all fenced in. It's all wired around my house. And guess what? And Jesse knows. But you know what, though? No conspiracy theory. But in my land, it's the way it is. When I step out, I abide by the laws of Canada. That's how it works.
You know, and that's the thing is I keep trying to tell people. Because remember, well, you guys don't know, but I went to school for politics. Like this is what I went to school for.
Yeah.
So I didn't vote in the Clinton-Trump
election
because I didn't like either one. So I just abstained from the vote.
Yeah.
I pulled the Russell Brand. I'm not going to vote at all. I'm just going to stay out of it, right?
Yeah.
So for 4 years, I couldn't say anything.
Because
I didn't vote.
Yeah.
So I have no ability to say anything. I have no opinion.
I agree.
Arguing with me, like, okay, did you vote? Well, no, I didn't vote. Then shut up. You didn't vote. Shut up. You have no opinion.
I agree.
Only the people that voted have an opinion. If you don't vote, you have no opinion.
I totally agree.
This time I voted. And I voted for Biden. I thought he was the better of the two. Not saying I love Biden, not saying I hate Trump, just saying I thought Biden was the better of the two. But I'm also from the field of I like my politicians to be professional politicians. There is the inner workings of the government that you need to be a professional at. I like my race car drivers to be professional. I like my soccer players to be professional. I like my MMA guys to be professional because there's certain things that go on. These guys, these what are the two brothers that are idiots? They're going to fight everybody. They're YouTube stars, the Pauls.
Logan.
I'm going to fight this guy. I'm going to fight this guy. Somebody hit me up like, would you please fight? I don't know, whatever. Logan, Jake, Jack, whatever the hell their names are. He's like, will you please fight this guy and shut him up? I'm like, no, I'll ref it. I've no desire to fight this guy. Why do I want to fight that guy? Like it's so far beneath my skill level. It makes no sense. Like, it's silly. Like it's actually an embarrassment for me to even respond. It's embarrassing for any of us to respond to it.
Because Frank, it's not on your resume. It's going to look horrible. It's going to look atrocious. It's going to go. It's going to show all your fights, and it's going to say Jake Paul, and it's going to be like, really, Frank? Really, Frank? You needed to do that, did you? You're
that desperate.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. So I chose Biden because I like my guys to be professional. He gets in, so now I have his administration. But the reality of it is, unless you are the CEO, the CFO of a huge corporation that's multinational or international or national, runs in multiple states, The Fed doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't matter, right? Who matters? Your governor, your mayor, your local city council. If you got kids, your school board, the fire department, who the sheriff is, who the LAPD is. That's what matters. How'd you vote in those elections? Oh, I don't vote locally.
Yeah, I know that's mind-boggling to me too. Yeah,
Jesus, it's the worst. Like it does. So I really don't care who's in the White House. It doesn't really affect me one way or the other. What affects me is my local government. That's where I pay attention to.
Frank, can I ask you this too? Because I don't want to.
No, you can't ask me. Go ahead, Jesse.
But I don't. I don't want this to go unnoticed because I know for sure this. Okay, I know certain things in this world better than most. And what I don't know is I don't see you enough refereeing. And I know you got to be careful on this line, okay, Frank? And wait, because it disturbs me to the highest level. I've told you this before, so I don't care anymore because I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm trying to tell people the truth. I've had hundreds of people tell me, and I'm not in the MMA business. I haven't been for 7 years now, right? But it's funny how many people bring up to me just because we know each other. Hey, Mark, Frank Trigg is such a great referee. Hey, Mark, why doesn't Trigg referee more in the UFC? Hey, Mark, and it's funny, Frank, I don't even talk about MMA unless it's on the show. Jesse will attest to that. The crazy part is it's in my head all the time. I'm like, why isn't Trigg? I'm watching a UFC with my son, and he's like, Dad, where's Trigg at? Hey, my wife that doesn't care about MMA. Hey, Mark, where's Trigg at? I'm like, you know what? You're on the show today, Frank. Please tell us what's going on here.
First of all, thank you for that. All your friends. Thanks. I really appreciate that.
It's true. It's true.
So here's basically how it comes down to. Do you want the guy you know can do the job, or you want the guy you think can do the job?
We want the guy that knows.
Your Herb Deans, your Herzogs, your Beltrans, your Mark Goddards. Those guys have been doing the job 15, 20 years. They've proven time and time again they can get it done. And believe me, they've all made mistakes. Every single one of us makes a mistake. Every night we all have a mistake. Sometimes the mistake is very small. Sometimes the mistake is very big. Yep. One of those guys that just mentioned had a lot of big mistakes and got sat down for a little while, and now has been brought back. And this is it's how it goes. You have bad periods in your career, just like anything else. When they come to me, I come with something a little bit different than no other referee has right now. Correct. Other than Shaolin down in Brazil. I've actually fought in the big show.
Yes.
I actually have a huge record compared to these are Herb Dean fought. These other guys fought.
Yeah.
But they're like 2-0, 4-0, 2-1, 3-1 at the amateur level. They didn't make the jump. I fought to the battle twice. I have that coming in. So I have a different knowledge of how things work when I come in there. Right. But I'm still not proven. And that's the thing that when you talk about the NFL, like the Super Bowl's coming up soon, they have the best officials from all officials are going to ref the Super Bowl because they're allowed to pick the best. These are proven time and time again. They know how to do their job at their particular position. I'm not proven yet because I've only been reffing, I think, 9 years now. And as a result, I've only had 7 UFCs, 12 or 13 Bellators because I only ref the Bellators that come through California and Hawaii for Bellator, and the UFC only one that come to California. Now, with that being said, there's a couple of UFCs that was thrown on earlier that were here that I got pulled from. So I got assigned, but then the assignment got removed. And I didn't understand what was going on. I thought it was a glitch in the computer, a glitch in the assignment. Somebody hit the wrong button. And what it was is they didn't want me. Promotion didn't want me on the card. Right? Fair enough. They're allowed to deny certain referees to be on their card. They're allowed to do that.
How can the promotion deny it, Frank? Like, listen,
they're allowed to for whatever. They don't have to have a reason. They can just say they can make something up. It doesn't matter.
You understand? I know the rules better than most. Okay, let's pretend let's say it this way. It's more clear. I know the rules and regulations more than anybody. And no organization in the world should be able to pick which officials officiate or not officiate. Just
they get a list. Here's the officials we want to use. Here's the list.
What I'm saying is that they shouldn't get a list. That's not how it works. Whatever commission is there, they should appoint the officials they want to put in, not the organization, even if it is the UFC.
Well, you look at then you go back and look at those cards I was pulled from, and you're like, oh, now I understand. The first fight on Fight Pass was a number 5 versus number 6 contender fight, all the way through to the 3 championship fights at the end. Okay, every fight had significance bearing in who was going to fight for the title next. Because we all know in the UFC, if you're in the top 10, you are one fight away from being called in. An injury, one guy's already tied up, a guy just fought, can't fight again very quickly. He's not trained camp, boom, you're in. You're number 9 versus number 1. That's just how it works. So it was very significant. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I wasn't proven yet. I hadn't been proven yet that I can handle these big under pressure fights. So they put me on a fight night, December 9th, I think it was, 6 years ago, whenever Cub Swanson fought Brian Ortega. That was the main event. That was my first UFC. It was in Fresno. It was a fight night. I walk out, Mark Ratner goes, super glad to have you. And walks away. All he said. And from Mark Ratner, that's like 75 pages of endorsement. I'm like, whoa, okay. Awesome. So now every time the UFC comes to California, I get assigned that position. Because of COVID, I was on the cusp to getting to where I was going to start doing a little bit more at the UFC. Maybe one of the other states. There's a lot of other commissioners were like, hey, maybe we can bring you into this state when the UFC comes in. Like, we'll kind of see what, how it pans out. Nothing was solid. Then COVID happened, shut everything down. So UFC is only in Nevada, and it's only in Yas Island as of right now. So when they're in Nevada, you've already got 2 high-level officials or higher-level officials, Mark Smith and Chris Tione, who I started with. When I first started reffing, I was in Las Vegas. These guys I started with, they've got more experience than I do, but they're the local guys. So you always have to have a local referee on when you come in. Yeah. There's always got to be a local guy. You might find a bunch of guys, but you're going to have local guys on there too. Yeah. They're local guys. Then they bring in Herzog. They bring in Dean, who both live in California. They bring in Goddard, who lives in England if he's over here doing something else. Like, they have all these other guys they bring in. So there's no space. There's no space right now. Beltran is another one I think is going to be added pretty soon to the Nevada Commission for refereeing. So there's no space because they've already got so many guys that you can't force another guy from a different state to come in. In Yas Island, it's a long way to go. And when you go, you got to be locked up. Like they're there. I think Herzog, I talked to the other day, was there. He's there till Sunday. So he's there a week and a half, right? Well, I can't be gone that long anyway. I work tomorrow on my show. I work today on my show. Like, I can't be gone. I have to come back. So it's like, even if they call me to come to Yas Island, I'm like, look, I can't do it because I have this other show. And people ask me, how come not more fighters don't ref and judge?
Yeah, that's why.
It's financial. The amount of money that I make being this one day on this Disney show isn't even close to what I make during the whole time I'm gone. Yeah. Say I worked Saturday, Wednesday, and I work Saturday again. The whole time that I'm gone, I make more in one day. So it just doesn't make any sense.
Mathematics, yeah.
Especially after COVID, when production shut down in March, it didn't come back until October. Yeah. So all that time we're off. We're all trying to play catch up. But like now it's like really, it's a money situation. I gotta take care of my money first. Yeah. So it's gonna happen eventually, whether it's Bellator or UFC or ONE FC or whoever it is, like whatever big promotion is gonna grab me and they're gonna bring me in. But here's the other issue that I kind of don't like about MMA. That if you travel with one promotion, unless that local commission forces you on, like Todd Anderson. Todd Anderson out of Toronto, he's an amazing referee. I love his refereeing style. I love what he does. When he makes mistakes, he's an old cop. He's a retired police officer. He's not scared to say, hey, look, hey, on me. I screwed that one up. Yeah. I forget the fight, but it was in Square Garden, and right at the bell, the girl kept punching across. Right at the bell, she punched across every single round. He's like, no, it's on me. I got to do better. My mechanics have to get better. Next time he came out, his mechanics were better. Every time the UFC comes to Madison Square Garden, he's on that card because the New York Commission puts him on that deal.
That's right. Yeah.
He travels with Bellator. So the UFC won't travel him anywhere because he works with Bellator, which I find really disheartening. He's like, the refs are the best. We all know who the best refs are. We all know who the best judges are. We all know who it is. So why would you want to have the best guys working? Exactly. Regardless of where you are and who they work for. It's not a full-time job, man. Like, you're not paying me. I'm not making $200,000 a year working for you. I might make $30,000 a year working for you. Like, what do you like? This is not. It doesn't make any financial sense for me not to be tied up with an organization that's going to travel me all the time.
Can we get it to that though, Frank? Because you look in the NHL in hockey, right? And NHL is very low on the total poll in major league sports. You know what I mean? You have NFL, you have Major League Baseball, you have all these other things. You know, you got a guy that's a referee in the NHL. He's making $500,000 a year, U.S. Yeah. Linesman is making $350,000 a year, not even including expenses, playoffs, the rest of it.
What's the difference? They also have a union.
Yeah, yes. Correct.
That's what I was going to ask that.
Okay, now that's what I'm saying. Why haven't we? We're at this level now where we're talking about a $4 billion company, And we're talking about
get it right, 4.2.
4.2, correct. And but what I'm saying is, don't you find that very strange that we're still treating this back end? You don't have to answer it. You just could nod. This back end of the way the sport is run, we're treating it still kind of Bush League-ish like back in the day.
Well, yeah, but here's the deal. Remember, the NFL had a strike. NHL had a strike. MLB had a strike.
Everyone has. Yeah.
Had a strike. They've all strike. You can't strike in MMA because there's some kid that's 5-0 and hungry as balls will take $2,000 just to fight in the UFC,
right,
just to be on TV because everyone else is because you're Conor McGregor's and you're Dustin Poirier's and your big name guys are all your Max Holloway's are all saying I'm not going to fight. They're going to find somebody else, right? They're going to find somebody else and they're going to go, no, he can't fight till he sign his union deal. Okay, we'll just find a bunch of other people. You guys aren't going to make any money because we only get paid when we compete, and it's very hard. It's very difficult.
But do you think now that because I think what happened in like football, for example, where you tried to bring in the scab, so to speak, that now the fans are at a place where we know the quality. And so is it maybe time now that, hey, the fans are educated enough that they know they're not going to go for these guys?
So, yes, in theory. But remember, the big promotion, the way the structure is handled right now, they hold all the cards because they're going to revert back to boxing. Well, boxing doesn't have a union. Well, it's also reverse play. So let's just take pay-per-view for a moment. Pay-per-view for boxing, 80% of the total take goes to the fighters. 20% goes to promotion. In MMA, it's about the reverse. Now, you're talking plus or minus 5 or 6%, so don't get on me. Oh, no, it's only 68%. But it's the reverse. Most of the money goes to promotion, and less of it goes to the fighters. So with that kind of structure, you can never pull anybody in to go, okay. In boxing, you're never going to want a union because you're like, okay, all I have to do is sell more pay-per-views. Why does Mayweather make $400 million every time he fights?
Correct.
$200 million to fight. He's the promoter. He's also the matchmaker. He controls it all. He gets all the money, and he knows he's going to sell 3, 4, 5 million pay-per-views. He knows that's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter whenever he fights. So that's why the Conor McGregor fight made sense financially, even though we all knew he was going to beat the crap out of him. When he decided to, he was going to win. This is what it does. Conor just does not have that skill, that boxing skill, to catch a guy like Mayweather, which is all he's ever been doing.
Right.
Because Conor's had to work on kicks. Conor's had to work on grappling. He's had to work on grappling defense. He's had to work on wrestling. He's had to work on, and all Mayweather's done since he was sick is throw punches. Bang, bang, bang. That's all he's ever done. So it's difficult to come in and go, hey, we're going to start a union when all this guy knows all I have to do is sell more pay-per-views. In MMA, it's a little bit easier to have a union, but it's so much harder because there's so many more guys that just want to be in the game. Yes, the fans might go, yeah, this sucks. How many times have you heard it? Looking at the card. This card sucks. This card's horrible. This card's horrible. You watch it? Of course, card's horrible. Right. So it doesn't. So yeah, we might think the card sucks, and you watch it, we get pleasantly surprised. Or the card sucks, and we spend the next 5 days on the internet. Oh, it sucked. They're freaking horrible. Why they put this match like Jeff versus Mark was stupid. I told you from the very beginning. Look back at my post. 20 years ago, I said this fight would be dumb. It's still dumb. You're like, yeah, but did you watch it? Yes. Do you have your UFC shirt on right now? Yes. Are you on Instagram talking about the UFC? Yes. Okay, so it's working. Right. So yeah, the fans might be educated, but it's not.
But Frank, don't you think it would be much easier in MMA if you took the top 8 guys and some NFL agent came in, some hardcore NFL agent came in and said, listen, you 8, come talk to me for dinner. I got this money I want you to all have right now to sit down with me, the top 8 guys in MMA, and we're going to restructure this as a union. The top 8, because you know there's the drawing power. There's only a drawing power. Like it's only Christmas this weekend because Conor's fighting. The rest of the time, it's like, I don't care what anybody says. When the Diaz brothers are involved, we kind of go, oh, it's like Valentine's Day. And then when Conor fights, it's like Christmas. When
John Jones, what is it when John Jones fights?
John Jones is like Easter. It's like Easter. It's not even like, you know what I mean? So people
is it Christian Easter or Orthodox Easter? Which Easter?
Either or, right? but what I'm saying though, it's the truth. So it's not like you can count on 2 hands. There's literally like 5 guys that you would have to get control of that can rope this in to make a proper union. And listen, you can have certain guys hey, listen, I love Max Holloway. But he's on free TV. It was on free TV. because Max don't pull in big numbers, and I love Max Holloway. But
they have a Demetrius Johnson, like he was playing, like it's just no one cares about 125. They just don't care about it.
Correct.
This is what it is. But if you pull a John Jones, if you pull like Jesus, what the hell's his name? Francis Ngannou, you pull guys like that, then yeah, you got a shot. Here's the problem. The moment UFC gets wind of anything like that going down.
Yeah.
Hey, don't say anything, but here's a $2 million bonus for you just because. Just because. Yeah. What? Hold on, you give me $2 million. Just because. Okay.
Right.
I guess I'm not going to that dinner then. Yeah. So thinking about, thinking about, are you free the 14th? Yeah. Matter of fact, I just my schedule
cleared up.
We're going to dinner. That's what they can do. What's McGregor going to make? The reported income that he's going to make is $2 million for this fight. $2 million, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea what Poirier's going to make, but it's not $2 million. It's not even $1 million.
No, it's
right?
not. No.
Conor deserves to get the money because he restructured his deal. He's getting guaranteed money. Obviously the pay-per-view numbers have been changed and all that stuff. Get it because he deserves it. He's earned that right. He's earned it. Problem is, you get top 8 guys. Conor's the top 8 guy. It's going to take a lot to pull him off. That man does not need to fight ever again.
Right.
He can walk away from the sport.
Yeah.
He can literally walk away and not have to worry about money ever again. His money, if he puts his money in a bank account, a savings account, he can live off the savings for the rest of his life. He'd be fine. Like, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. So how are you going to pull him away?
No, but would he be the perfect guy though, Frank? Wouldn't he be the perfect guy to get it going? Because Conor, he has nothing to lose. So he would be the perfect guy to get the union started for all the fighters. What would be funny? Because once you unionize the fighters, everybody starts to make more money. Everybody. It's trickle down. It's trickle down.
Except for the lighting.
What's that?
The business makes less.
Of course, but when you talk about the business makes less money, but they're bragging all the time how much money they're making. So the bottom line is, it actually is time for that, because if you say Conor for the
what I don't like though is the ranking system.
2 million,
because the ranking system's all messed up because it's you said before 9 can fight 1 all of a sudden. What happened to like the number 1 contender idea? Yeah. With the union, I think it actually starts to police that a little bit.
It does, and that's part of the problem. Right. That's the other thing with the union. Then you have to file protocol. So like,
that's right.
1 versus number 2 may not be interesting. It may not be a great hype fight, but number 1 versus number 5 is going to be hype. Diaz versus Gamebred. All of a sudden can't happen because why are we having these 2 guys fight?
Right.
Guys having weight classes and fighting. Like, why are you having that? Like, it doesn't make sense. He's got to be ranked in this weight class before he can be. Because boxing does it in such a fashion, and I'm using boxing because that's what everybody compares us to.
Yes.
But we're not comparable. We're 2 different sports. I get it. But boxing goes, if you want to fight for the championship, you have to be in the top 10 of the weight class. You can't just show up. Now, you can get ranked if you jump in. If you're number 1, like a Mayweather, he's number 1, been undefeated. He moves up 1 weight class, moves down 1 weight class. He gets ranked because he's the guy. Like, he just gets ranked. Which allows him to get in the title shot relatively quickly because he's in the top 10. In MMA, that's harder to happen. Like, all of a sudden, John Jones was good at heavyweight. He's never been up to heavyweight. He hasn't fought in forever. Where is he now? Well, he's not even ranked in the top 10, so he can't fight for a title. He can't be even close to it. He's not even close to a title shot. Where he comes in at, the rankings then come in, and then you have to have real rankings, right? So the media and everybody has to really rank these fighters. And once they're ranked, that's it. Hey, man,
good point.
You're 11th. Sorry, John. Hey, you started 15th. You crush that guy. Well, only ranked 11th. You're still out of the top 10. You still can't fight for a title. You got at least 1 more fight before you can get in. It changes the motif of everything. Then from a business standpoint, the big promotions all of a sudden lose money because you're like, I need John to fight for the title. Mm-hmm. I need Conor to move up a weight class and fight for the title. I can't do that if I have this union situation because now we have
that could be the killer of the union right there, I think.
And we're not talking about a little bit of money. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars can be lost within a year of all these fights you want to have happen and can't have happen. The best thing about MMA is I want to see Poirier versus McGregor part 2 happen again. People get on the internet and they start it and it becomes a thing, it becomes a deal, and all of a sudden the matchmakers and Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby and Dana White and everyone starts seeing it like, you know what, this has got some feel. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Oh, boom, let's put it in. Let's make it happen. Right? But Conor's what, number 1, and what's Poirier, 5, 4? Forgive me, I'm sorry, I'm not positive of that. But it's like the same thing with Holloway's fight. Holloway was 2 and sorry. The guy was so tough. The guy he fought was so tough.
Yeah. But he was 6. He was 6.
You know what I'm saying? That fight doesn't happen because 5, 4, and 3 were available.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if they're not available, If they're not available, okay, I get it. But the other guys were available. You got to have the other fighters. So
that's right.
That's
like,
it.
on,
That's true. That is the point, and I think that breaks this whole thing down.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, personally, would I love to have a union? Absolutely, because I think the fighters need to get more protection. And there's a lot of my friends now that aren't fighting anymore. They're getting punch drunk. I mean, we all see it now going down to Bioaccelerator down in Costa Rica or down in Colombia to get stem cell to help out with their joints and injuries, but also help out with their brains. We're watching all these guys trying to repair themselves. A lot of them aren't functionable. Like, they're not functionable. They can't work. They can't hold regular jobs.
We haven't seen that, though, Frank, as much compared to boxing. You know, we're starting to see it in wrestling, in WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
If you're really paying attention to news or on blogs, you will see wrestler number 1 or 2 or 3 that you kind of knew their name. They died last week. They died the week before. And then you see it in boxing all the time, but you're going to start seeing it now after 20 something years in MMA. You're going to start to see it like more and more and more.
Well, look at the polar bear, Paul, just passed away from COVID. And you're like, he was healthy. Like, he was great. Like, what the hell happened? How did he get COVID so quick and die? You're like, oh, he has a lot of fucking injuries from fighting.
Correct.
He's got a lot of bad injuries. Like, he's got a neck problem we didn't know about. He's got a breathing problem we didn't know about, right? And that stuff is starting to sort of feed its way through. I mean, look at Coleman. He's had 2 hip replacements and had staph. Randleman has passed away already. Like, we're talking about some of these guys that you guys forget about. That already passed, that were important to our sport, and they passed because of the accumulation of wrestling. Back then, it was wrestling and judo and taekwondo and doing other things before we jumped in. But the combination of wrestling damage and fight damage to our heads and our bodies, and people are falling apart. And that is what's happening. So I wish there was a union, because that's going to protect that. You're going to have just the NFL. You have head trauma. The helmets have changed now. Put that little horseshoe in there specifically so that it doesn't rattle your whole head. It just, that imprints, we're going to make that contact, right? So they have they're doing a lot more things in the NFL to protect people's heads. And of course, like I said, the UFC is on the forefront of this. They're helping out the Cleveland Clinic, doing that concussion research, the brain research. But there's a lot of guys that have been missed, that have been passed up. No one's called me since I've stopped fighting to find out how my head is. No one's stepped up on me. Not one person.
Frank, how are you between the stunt work and the fighting? And you started wrestling at a very young age, and then after Oklahoma, and I know you coached at Oklahoma after as well. But how are you doing physically right now? Like,
I'm a complete wreck. I'm a mess. I need a full shoulder replacement. I need a full knee replacement. Yeah. My ankle was replaced after the GSP fight. That's why, like, I shot on GSP and he blew me over the double leg. I blew my ankle. My ankle was torn, but I thought I could get away with it. You couldn't use tape back then. I couldn't tape my ankle. It was illegal. I was going to go out there and he blew me over. I was like, it felt like someone put a shotgun, a red hot shotgun in my ankle and pulled the trigger. I was like, get me over. And that's why I flipped, like, take the choke. Just get me out of this. I got to get out of this. Because I couldn't do anything, and I had surgery next week. So my ankle got repaired. Because of that, though, my knee is now screwed up. Because you walk different, we have a different ankle. I don't care what doctors say. They don't make it as good as God did. God is way better at it. They try, but they don't make it as good. So I'm all up. So, like, all my lifting right now, it's all calisthenics. Like, I'm doing like gymnastics training. Training, because my body can't handle. I can't push because it's going to blow my shoulder up. I can do push-ups, but I can't do bench press. I can't do a bunch of weight because I hurt my shoulder. Overhead stuff is almost impossible, so I have to do different things. But I'm trying to work myself into doing handstands, working myself into doing, kip ups and all these kind of things, because that's the only way I can really train right now. But you have to get your head out of the way. So I'm used to let's go grind. Let's go. I'm gonna grab a guy.
That's not happening.
35 minutes. Like, that's not happening. That's not good. No. That's not good at all. So that's kind of how my body is. But I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck. But at 48. I'm also in better shape than most guys who are 40.
Correct.
But me personally, for my body, for what I do, I'm a wreck. These other people aren't. And so that's the thing. They're just couch potatoes, never done anything. They don't have that long-term body mechanic, a long-term injury. But these injuries are going to affect me later in my life, so I have to kind of start thinking about doing them. Now, for stunts, here's the thing about stunts. It is rehearsed 20 times. It is practiced 30 times. We've gone over it 50 times before we even started rehearsing it. And then I have pads on everywhere it's going to touch the ground. So, and I know I'm going to fall on this shoulder. I'm going to fall on this elbow. I'm going to hit this hip. All my pads are on this side. Camera's over there on that side. I'm not going to see my pads. I'm taking the hit. Boom. You learn big hits. I have a mouthpiece in. I have gel pads that go inside my baseball hats. So my baseball hat on, I have gel pads on the inside. So I hit my head. The gel pad takes the brunt of it. We have all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
All the stuff from getting hit. I've worn kick shields and shin pads and like stuff you use during sparring. I've had it on underneath my clothes when I'm going down a stair. I'm getting hit by a car. You know, we have hards, we have softs, we have all these little small gel packs you put in these little special spots. I'm gonna hit the table. Like, you learn how to put this stuff, and because I've fallen so much just onto a mat, and I've fallen my whole career. Like, you learn how not to hit your head for all these years of falling. You learn how to break the fall. You learn how to do these things. And so we fall and we learn, but we have so many pads on. Like, I have gloves with gel pads in the palms. Wow. So when I hit the ground, it's not on my palm, it's in the gel pad. So you have all these things, so it protects you. So stunts is really, if you're good at them and you train hard and you really pay attention to camera angles and what size lens is on you, where you're going to be at, you learn a lot. Like, you learn how not to hit the ground during rehearsal, you just swap down. You learn how not to run through that wall until like, okay, this is it, right? This is it. I'm going through this window. I'm going through this window now, right? And that's when you sell it that one time. In a fight, it's chaos. I'm trying to get you to go to a place where you don't want to go, but I want you to think you want to go there so I can get an angle on you. In the meantime, I'm getting hit with stuff I'm not sure it's coming and when it's coming. And so you walk out of it like, you're so much beat up. But the difference is that's one time for 25 minutes if you're a title fighter, 15 minutes versus 17 or 18 times every day, every scene for 6 months. So it's like, it's a trade-off.
Frank, what's that one stunt you did where you were like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? Like that one that you were like, it's go time, but you were like, you were stuck to go.
So I have this it's known, so I'm not giving you anything. It's known in the community. I have a fear of heights.
Yeah, of course.
I have a fear of heights. So I have a fear of heights. I don't like doing, and high falls or basically anything that's over 60 feet to the ground is considered high. I don't do high falls. Yeah. I don't do anything high falls. So like my sweet spot is 40 feet. I'll do 40 feet in the bag or 40 feet in the boxes. Like, I'm okay at 40 feet.
40 is still high. Yeah.
Like literally at 42 feet, I'm kind of like, come on, man. Like, you got to talk me through it, man. You got to give me some help here. Like, give me a little push because it's going to be a little tough. It's like people jumping out of airplanes, parachuting. Like, no, I'm not good with that. It's just not my thing. It's just like, everyone's got that spot. So
as your sticking point, like between 40 and down, you're good. But then that,
it's mental. It's not physical. Because there's girls that are that are literally 1/3 my size, 5'2", 125 pounds, 115 pounds, jumping out of 6-story windows and flailing and hitting the ground and spinning, landing on their backs and like getting up. Okay, let's do it again. I'm like, you get one take out of me, that's what we got. Everybody's different. It's just everyone's got their own little mentality. But you put me on top of a sailboat, put me off the mast, I'll be on top changing the antennas and changing the thing. I'm strapped in, I'm in a harness. I'm like, I don't care. Like, then let me down, we're good to go. So it's a little different. Everyone's got their little sweet spot. Yeah. But the one stunt that I was like, okay, earlier in my career, I was working on Hawaii 5-0. I've been doing fire burns, but like little gel fire burns on your arm, little fire burns on your leg, like just getting used to fire burns. I mentioned to the stunt coordinator, hey, like, I'm getting ready to start doing fire burns. He's like, okay, so we're on set. I'm doubling another guy. They go through this whole thing. There's a big explosion and a big fire that happens after, right? At the end of the scene. And so we're told the whole day it's this other guy is going to be the guy on fire. This other random dude is just going to be walking by. And he's
not you.
The director is like, that doesn't make any sense. We need to have these guys get blown up. So all of a sudden the doubles, I'm one of the doubles, is the guys getting blown up. Short sleeve shirt, no gloves, no head on, nothing on. I'm got boots on, like SWAT style pants and a t-shirt. Full body, including my head, fireburn. Everything's
Ooh.
So, and I've been practicing, but I hadn't quite got there. So there's this fire guy in the stunt community called Mark Chadwick. He happened to be the double of the other guy. He's the best, one of the best, if not the best, arguably top 2 in fire burns, of every fire burn of ever like going on. This is the guy. Thank God I had him as my partner. He's like, okay, put this on. I'm telling you this what's going on, whatever, blah, blah. And it's a countdown, and they put the formula on me to light me up. It's like dripped all over me. Guy stands behind me with a blowtorch. And like, okay, and I'm standing there like this, and like, okay, 3, 2, 1, and light me. I'm like, okay, all right, go, bang, and we land on the ground, bang, we flail around. I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm on my belly. I'm like, oh my god, I roll over, and all of a sudden the flame. Now you see it, because fire goes up, goes towards air, whoa, lights up. I'm like, whoa, and I'm like shaking. My arms are on fire, and I'm like, now I'm obviously covered. I have gel on it. We've got stuff on it, but I'm still lit up. but I've got a short sleeve shirt on. So you're like, oh, this is going to burn through everything and hit my skin. Oh, and I roll over. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, put them out. And they come over and they put me out. And I'm laying there. I'm like, I'm still on. I'm still hot. I'm still hot. I'm like, no, you're out. You're out. And they grab my shirt and they pull it away. I'm like, okay. All right. I'm out. We get up. Like, okay, you okay? All right. Like, yeah, I'm totally fine. They go, you seem like you panicked a little bit. I'm like, I absolutely did panic. I didn't realize how big the fire was. And then when you put me out, my back was still hot. I thought I was still on fire. Like, no, you're totally out. You're totally out. And then some random, like, old guy, like old Hawaiian guy, like he is like 65 years old, off. He's like a grip. He's like one of those old worker guys that's barrel around with all the sandbags on. He goes, you got a tattoo on your back? I was like, I have a tattoo on my back. He goes, it's got metal in it. He just keeps walking by. I'm like,
wow.
What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, so some of the ink, they used to put metal in it. So
wow.
Metal continues to heat up. So that fire burn put me into a real situation of like, hey, I learned something new that none of the other guys knew. None of the other guys could figure out why I was still getting hot. I was like, okay, we learned something new, but also fire is exhilarating. Being on fire is...
Yeah, I would imagine.
Wow, man. When can we do this again?
Oh,
I'm going to do it tomorrow.
It's a wake up, eh? It's a wake up.
Oh, yeah. You're like, this is something I can do. This is something I want to do. I'm exhilarated by it. I'm passionate about it. I'm on fire. Like, this is like, it fires up your soul. Like, yeah, let's get this going again. I want to do this again. And so you're like, okay. And that was the one stunt. My first time I did, I was like maybe 3 years in the industry. I was like, oh, let's get this. Like, let's do it. It'll be great. And I was like, oh, I'm fine. Wait, when I rolled over, I was like, whoa, this is fucking for real. Okay. Like, yeah.
Is there a pecking order in the stunt world? Like the same as MMA, same as everything else? Is there like a pecking order in the stunt world where this is the guy, then this is the next, and this is the next?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, you want certain things done. Like if you want a driving scene, you want Corey Eubanks Jr.
That's it.
Yeah. His dad drove the General Lee. Like this is like those things. Like you want him to drive. You want Chris Stabenow. You want Stabenow to drive. Like these are guys that drive. Like if you want drifting, you want Ryan Raspberry. Like this is what you want. You want, like I called the other day for a stunt down in New Mexico from a buddy of mine. Actually, he used to be Anderson Silva's boxing coach. Marcos Morales. Yeah. He's a stunt guy. Marco's been around forever. He's a great friend of mine, a great human being. And he's like, hey, he goes, I hate to ask you this, but how's your driving? I'm like, my driving is good. Like, I mean, you want me to drift? Like, you want me to do like a drift scene? That's not me. I got a guy for you. It looks just like me and cover that spot. I go, but you need 180s. You need to do it, a 90-degree turn. You need to do stuff like that. I'm totally in. That I can totally do. He's like, no, it's simple. It's something simple. I see you do one hard turn around a corner and kind of slide your ass around a corner and keep going down the street. We got 100%. I'm in. But there's a pecking order and there's a look order, right?
Yeah.
When they're looking for Vin Diesel lookalikes, they're not calling me. They're calling Troy Robinson. That's his stunt double. They're calling him.
Yeah.
Troy's. They go down. They have like 25 guys. I'm the 30th guy. You know what I'm saying? So like there is a pecking order. But any of the CBS shows that are filmed in LA, so your NCIS, your NCSLA, Magnum, because I go to Hawaii quite a bit. All those guys need a guy to fight. The guy's going to hit the ground. He's going to sell it and get it done within 2 or 3 takes. I'm the guy they call because they know for sure I'm going to sell out and I'm not going to bitch about hitting the ground. Going back to the young. There's a lot of young stunt guys now that are coming in. Everyone comes in. I came in late. I didn't come in until I was 39. I didn't get the stunts until I was 39 because I had just finished fighting.
Yeah.
Most of these guys get 18, 19, 20 years old. They're coming in early, right? So at my age, these guys have already had 25 years of stunt coordinating. I'm brand new. So I was like, I kept asking the stunt coordinator, why do you always call me? Because there's guys that are younger that, you seem to work better with. Like, why do you always call me? Because we kind of butt heads every time we're on set. He's like, because I know you're going to do it every single time. Like, you don't complain. These younger kids, like, after the third take, are like, we're done, right? We're moving on? Oh, no, dude, we got 15 more takes. Like, you're crazy. Like, you don't know this director? This director's he's going to shoot at every angle, far, close, here.
Stable Fincher.
What do you mean? I thought we're done after 3. Nah, man, not with this guy. Like, we're hitting the ground. Like, get ready, we're hitting the ground. What, do you have your pads on? Yeah, I have my pads on. What's your problem then? You just hit the...
Yeah.
But they're complaining. He's like, you come in and you're like, you know what? And the director told me, it's happened before. Hey, I can see your pad. You got to take that pad off. You have a thinner one? That's my softest, thinnest one. Pull it off. Okay, we're hitting the ground. And now I got no protection. Just hitting the ground. Okay, we're going to hit the ground. Let's go. And do it. And they're like, okay, good, great, moving on. Like, thanks, guys, appreciate it. And then you get in the stunt community, we get adjustments, which is like a bonus for doing the stunt correctly. It's part of the budget. It's working in the budget. They go, hey, here's your thank you very much for doing this. We're going on these stairs. Here's $800 extra on top of your day rate. Hey, thanks for rolling that car. Here's $20,000 extra on top of your day rate for rolling the car. You know, it's like these adjustments, depending on what you do. Yeah, I mean, you get these adjustments, but remember, it's one time, one day. You still got 65 other days you got to work. You got to, That's right. There's not a career bit.
Yeah.
Even with the residuals, you still got to chase it down. You still got to hunt it, But it's like there's a lot of that participation trophy. True story. This kid in Atlanta shows up on set with his own pads. Now, when I'm being told this story, I'm like, yeah, of course, he's got his own pads. We'll bring our own pads. He goes, no, you understand. He bought a 4-inch pad. He bought an 1.5-inch pad. He bought an 8-inch pad with him to set, his own pads. Like the big pads, big gymnastics pads. He brought those to set.
Oh,
already green screen.
Yeah.
You think, let me use this, right? Because all you got to do is just take it out and post. You can move it out and post. I'm like, please tell me this kid was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, he was like 21. He's like, he's a huge star down in Atlanta for doing stunts on the internet. And he films all of his own stuff. So he sent in a demo reel what he could do, but he had green screened out his own
everything. Everything, yeah.
So it looked like him in a t-shirt. He's hitting the ground and selling it. You're like, wow, this kid's pretty bad. He's selling it. Like, dude, kid hasn't worked since. That was he worked one day hasn't worked.
Gosh.
But that's the kind of crap you're putting up with. These directors have to deal with. It's like, come on, dude. Like, this is not how we do it. LA is different. LA is very much not Old Boys Network, but very much like right now I'm working. There's groups. There's groups all over the country. There's groups, but within LA. There are these, you become friends with certain guys. The reason why I'm working on this Disney show is because my buddy JJ Dashinaw, who comes from a very long line of stunt guys, like his whole family, his dad, his uncles, all of his brothers, all of his cousins are all in the stunt world. He's like, hey, I need a guy to play this part. You're the perfect fit for it. Are you available? I am available. Let's make this thing happen. He brought me in, and everybody else that I'm around are the guys in their particular field.
Wow.
So you want a shooter, it's this guy. You want a guy to drive, it's this guy. You want a guy to do a high fall, it's this guy. We're all working together. I'm like, wow, I'm in a great group of guys. And I was like, JJ, I got to ask, man, like, why'd you bring me in? He goes, because you can fight. And you're going to hit the ground in the exact same spot every single time.
Yeah.
He did this on this show. I'm like, okay, so my reputation is starting to precede me. I'm that guy for that particular thing. And I do a lot of gun work now. I do a lot of SEAL team, like on the show SEAL team. I do a lot of insurgency because of my look. I'm playing the bad guy. But I'm a little turban on and running around and playing Iraqi military and stuff. But I'm getting, I'm doing a lot of gun work with AKs. So I started training. I went out and started taking lessons on how to shoot an AK.
Awesome.
Because you need to get this stuff. You need this stuff to be able to come together.
For sure.
And so it's like, okay, it's starting to work. It's starting to come out a little bit. And then the guys are like, same thing, Mark. Hey, you're not going to Yazan, the ref, are you? Like, no, I'm not going to Yazan, the ref. I will be here for work. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'm going to Disney. I'm going to Disney. I'm going to Disney. Yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm going to Disney, man. Like, time to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely. But believe me, if the UFC called and my wife and I sit down and we try to map it out and go through all the flights, like, can I get back at 5:30 a.m. to make it to set by 7 a.m.? Can we pull that off? We do all that stuff so I can do both. But it's that was why I don't care about sleep. I'm on a plane, I sleep.
Yeah, that's it. For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Frank Trigg joining us. You can find Frank on all social media at Frank Trigg, right? Like, you got it smart. You just made it Frank Trigg.
So it's Frank Trigg. Twitter's at Frank Trigg. Facebook is my fan page. My personal page is full for some. I guess we're at 5,000. So my fan page is Frank Trigg host. And then on YouTube, I have a channel. It's Triggs Inc. I used to do a bunch of interviews back when I was doing podcasts.
Sure.
Is now switching to my life and what's going on. So what you guys don't know is that during COVID, I went back to school. I became a sea captain. So I'm an OUPV license as a sea captain, and I'm working on my 100-ton license right now, which is big ship, obviously. I take that test on February 4th. And then it's the process of, having to learn how to use this stuff, like slide rules.
Oh, wow.
And
navigating by the stars.
Reading through all these books and doing emergency response stuff and kid stuff. And it's like you're back in school. Now, mind you, I'm a kid that hadn't been in school for 20 years.
Yeah.
You got to relearn how to be in class, how to be in front of the computer.
Of course.
Listen to the instructor, answer the questions, take the quizzes, do the final exams, trying to do all that stuff. It's a little problematic, but it's okay. But that's basically what I've been doing. So that's the YouTube channel's becoming, is like, and on YouTube, I'm filming the process of what referees go through to get from your house to the event, what happens before the event starts, then what happens after the event is over, and then how you get back to your house. And like at first, I was like telling my wife Jill, I was like, "Hey, it's not cool, right? It's just kind of stupid." I put one up, kind of a little bit on Instagram, and they're like, "Dude, like really, this is what you have to go through?" Oh yeah, like you don't understand. Like just a day getting to, we're there. The refs now only have to be there an hour and a half before. In California, an hour and a half before the event starts, because we have to be there for a physical. We have to take a full physical before the event starts.
Wow.
Yeah, we have full makeup, we have full physical.
Yeah.
The event even starts, then we have to do our one-on-ones. Hey, Mark, so here's the rules. Don't grab the cage.
That's right, yeah.
And watch the eyes and blah, blah, blah. We have to go through the whole speech. We have to do it over and over again with every fight we have that night. Every person. So now 4 fights, 8 guys, or 8 girls, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on the YouTube channel, that kind of mess. And then the process of buying my wife and I get ready to buy a catamaran sailboat and
nice
and getting rid of our house and selling everything off and realizing and because not much room on a boat. There's just not much room. We're moving on to the boat. That's gonna be our full liveaboard and we're getting rid of everything and like trying to do you like this shirt? How much do you like this shirt? It doesn't give me more. Get rid of it. Like you gotta get rid of that shirt because we don't have space.
It's gonna be like that.
Yeah, it's doing that whole thing. Getting rid of all the knickknacks, getting rid of all the stuff. But I did find out there's straps and stuff you can use so I can carry my computer, which I'm talking to you guys on right now.
Yeah.
I set up like you guys have your mic stand set up. I'll be able to set that whole thing up on the boat and or the vessel and hide it when we're underway and then bring it back out again when I need to use it. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But that's my social media. That's on my social media.
Yeah, we'll make sure that everybody.
Mark, are we still friends on MySpace? I think we are.
That's a good throwback.
That's awesome. We can't thank you enough, Frank, for doing the show with us. We really mean it. I'm a super fan of you as a human being. I'm not really into the paying attention to fighting stuff anymore. I watch it more as a fan, but I've always said that to you, and it's never going to change. But I see that you put such effort into things you do, and you know what? It's great that your parents, that lineage carried through all the way. You know what I mean? And I really love seeing that.
So last thing before I know you guys want to go, my dad at 55 years old changed careers. He used to be a buyer rep for Xerox Corporation in Rochester, New York. They wouldn't move him to LA. They have a branch here. They wouldn't move him to LA. They kept stalling him because my stepmom at the time was living here. She's working for UCLA as career services.
Oh, wow.
So my dad obviously wanted to be with his wife. She's like, I want to move. And they're like, no. So he quit that job, moved out to LA, and at 55 years old, changed his career and became a ship's captain. And he retired down to Mexico at 76. No, hold on. He's 83 now. So at 70, he retired down to Mexico and retired as a 200-ton ship's captain. And just this last year, finally let his license expire. Didn't renew his license. He's had his license, he's ship captain all the way through till now, and does a couple trips a year. Nothing major, not steady work, but does a couple trips a year until his 80s. So I was like, that mentality, like what the point of it is, what my parents put on us was leading by example is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So when they were told no, they said, watch me. I'm going to find a way to make this happen. When this is not going to happen, they got divorced. My parents separated in 78 and divorced in 80 and have not really communicated with each other other than 2 times that whole time. Like it's like one of those old bitter divorces and the whole
of course.
The whole thing. So they do not communicate with each other, but they still have the same lessons even now. In my 40s, they're both still teaching the same lessons when they were together. So this is kind of what's happened, through my life, and that's the reason why I am who I am. The reason why our brothers are all successful, and the reason why we're all not out selling meth and wearing shorts to dinner.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Frank Trigg, everybody. Again, follow him, and great interview, great guest, great person, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, had me on a good time. I loved it. Have a great time, guys.
Thanks so much, Frank.
Bye.
You got it. Take care.
Frank Trigg. I mean, I lives up to the billing, of course. He's so multifaceted, right? And and when he used to come, and he used to commentate for my event.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Some of the lunches we had, and just so complex of a human being he was, between fighting, reffing, stuntman, like acting. I mean, it was just, and then like I said, like he just said, he went back to school to get a sailing.
Sea captain.
Sea captain.
Decided to be a sea captain. But hey, I think that's something that there's so many things. We talk about MMA, we talk about being a stuntman, but at the beginning there, the talking about life is really what it is. It is about constantly developing yourself, constantly stretching yourself, never getting in a zone where you're comfortable or too safe, but pushing yourself, because really you're only as old as you think you are. And I think even though he said his body is messed up, hey, I can still push myself in these other areas. And going back to school, for example, my mind can still be worked out in a certain way.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really inspiring, actually, because that's something that the message, especially in today's day, that needs to get out more and more.
It sure does. Well, we got to thank everybody for tuning in today. We thank you so much. The Me and Jesse podcast. And if you're in the East Coast, it's 7:00, 5:00 Mountain, 4 Pacific, and now 5 Central.
Yes.
Because we have everybody. We have sports people from all over the world. We have it everywhere. We have NFL, NHL, MLS coming up. We have, you name it, guys. We have it all coming to you. And we want you to tune in every Monday live
on Facebook Live or YouTube Live.
Yeah, exactly.
You pick your sauce on that one.
Hey, I'm so glad on YouTube, because our YouTube channel looks fantastic. We implore you to subscribe. Tell everybody you know to subscribe to our channel, because if you haven't heard, guys, we're not going anywhere. Okay,
Can't get rid of us.
Can't get rid of us. Use the hashtag Sports Talk 365. That Jesse and I. That's our hashtag. It's used everywhere. And like I said, ask questions. Ask us what you think about this. Ask us if you think this or that. We love it. We do respond to everybody on our Facebook page, YouTube, Twitter, you name it, everything. We're on everything.
We'll see you guys next time. This has been the most exciting 60-plus minutes you spent on Facebook and YouTube this week. We'll see you next time on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/Me and Jesse.